Welcome to Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice's Know Your Rights presentation. My name is Ann Naffier, and I am the co-legal director and managing attorney at Iowa MMJ. Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice, or Iowa MMJ, is a statewide membership-based community organization that offers immigration legal services and advocates for immigrants' rights. Our mission is to build a movement for justice led by immigrants and refugees in Iowa, and our vision is to create an Iowa that is welcoming and inclusive to immigrants. The purpose of this presentation is for you to understand your rights should you have an encounter with ICE, to learn how you can prepare for such encounters, and to gain resources to help protect yourself, your family, and your community. ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and it is the government agency that oversees immigration deportations. It is important that you understand immigration laws and policies change frequently and will probably change more frequently than normal in the next 4 years. The information in this presentation is accurate as of the date we are recording it, which is January 21st, 2025. Nothing in this presentation should be considered legal advice. We're going to start with defensive rights, which are the rights that you have at the time of an encounter with ICE. If ICE comes to the door of your residence, such as your house, apartment, trailer, we first encourage you to stay calm. Do not run or try to hide. If you run, law enforcement officers can use deadly force to stop you, so trying to escape could put your life in danger. You do not have to open your door to ICE unless they have a valid arrest or search warrant. If you open the door, ICE can take it as an invitation to enter your home, and if you invite them in, they do not need a warrant to search the house or arrest people inside. Instead, you should open the door just a crack or talk through the closed door and ask the ICE officer to show you the warrant. If there is no warrant, tell them that you will not let them into the house. If there is a warrant, look at it. You may take a picture of it with your phone. If ICE shows you an arrest warrant, you should look to see whose name is on the arrest warrant. Only the person whose name is on the warrant should step outside. That way, ICE will not be able to arrest other people they find inside the house. If ICE shows you a valid search warrant, look to see what part of the house or property is specified on the search warrant. ICE only has permission to search in those areas listed on the warrant, and you should tell them that you do not give them permission to search any other area. It is important to know that ICE officers are permitted to lie to you. So they may tell you that they have a valid warrant, even though they don't. They may tell you that they just want to ask you a question, even though they actually intend to arrest you or someone in your house. Do not invite or let them in unless they can show you a valid warrant. So what is a valid warrant? There are many different versions of warrants, and we cannot possibly show you all valid versions, but this is one example of a valid warrant. The elements that show that this warrant is valid are: 1, it is issued by a court. This could be a federal court or a court of the state of Iowa. 2, it is signed by a federal or state judge or a magistrate. Please note that an immigration judge, even though the word judge is in their title, is not a state or federal judge. So a warrant signed by an immigration judge is not a valid search warrant. And 3, if it is a search warrant, it will list the address to be searched. Check to be sure it is your address. If it is not your address, the officers are not entitled to search your house. This is an example of a warrant that is not valid. That is not a valid search warrant. This warrant does not give ICE permission to enter your house. Notice that it is issued by a federal agency, which in this case is the Department of Homeland Security. It is not issued by a court. Notice that it is to be signed by an immigration officer, not a federal or state judge. A good clue that this is not a valid search warrant is to look for language on the warrant that quotes the Immigration and Nationality Act. If the Immigration and Nationality Act is the basis of the warrant, it is not a valid search warrant. If ICE comes to your door with a valid search warrant, you must let them in. However, you still have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to answer their questions. You can say instead, I am exercising my right to remain silent, or I wish to remain silent. You can tell them that you will not speak with them until you have your attorney with you. Of course, you will need to have an attorney in order to enforce this right. It is very important that you do not lie or show any false documents to ICE. Lying or using false documents will get you into deeper trouble with the law and may prevent you from qualifying for some future immigration benefits. In the previous slide, we said that you can tell ICE that you wish to remain silent, but if you prefer, you could simply show ICE one of these red cards which say in writing to ICE that you want to exercise your right to remain silent. You can get these cards at the Iowa MMJ office. We will give you our contact information at the end of this presentation. Please note, this red card is not magic. It will not prevent you from being deported, but it will help you exercise your right to remain silent. If the police stop you in your car, you must stop. Pull your car over and turn it off. Be sure to put your hands where the officer can see them. When the officer asks, you must show them your driver's license, car registration, and proof of insurance. If you don't have a license, you still have the right to remain silent. Again, do not show them false documents. If you can, please make sure that the person driving your car is a person with a valid driver's license. If you don't have a license, it is safest if you do not drive a car. If you are arrested, you have the right to call your attorney if you have one. You do have the right to be represented by an attorney, but the government will not pay for the attorney. Therefore, if you want to exercise your right to be represented, you will have to hire and pay for your own attorney. There are some free attorneys in Iowa, but they are very few, and they cannot represent all immigrants who need representation. You have the right to call your friend or family member, to let them know where you are, and if needed, to ask them to help you find an attorney. Do not sign anything without consulting with an attorney first. Please be sure to save all papers ICE or the police give you. These documents will contain important information that you will need if you want to fight your deportation. If you have children and you want to take them with you back to your country if you are deported, tell immigration that you have children as soon as you can. They can be transported with you if you should be deported. If you have a medical condition, tell the ICE officers immediately so that they can provide you with appropriate medical care. Even if you are arrested, please do not lose hope, and here is why. Even if you are arrested and detained, you may have an immigration remedy. There may be a way for you to fight your deportation and remain in the United States. If you're eligible for a bond and you can pay the bond, your immigration process may take many years, so your deportation may not be imminent. Even if you are deported, it is important to remember that you may actually still be able to live a good life in your home country. Also, you may be able to legally return to the United States in the future. Now we're going to cover the rights that you have that you can practice before you even encounter an ICE officer. You have the right to prepare yourself for the possibility of encountering ICE. You have the right to educate yourself and know what your rights are, which is what you are doing right now by watching this presentation. If you have permission to be in the United States, you should carry documents that show that at all times. These documents would include your green card if you have one, your work permit, or paper showing that you have permission to be in the United States. Do not carry any false documents with you. Do not have false documents in your car or your home. If you do not have status, if you are undocumented, and you have been in the United States for more than 2 years, we recommend you carry evidence with you at all times of your 2 years of presence. This is because if you are arrested by ICE, you have the right to see a judge if you have lived in the United States for more than 2 years, which gives you a better chance to fight your deportation. Such evidence could include tax returns, children's birth certificates, even a library card. Do make a family emergency plan, and we will talk about that more in a moment. If you do not currently have legal status, do get an immigration checkup. Make an appointment with an immigration attorney to see if there are any immigration options for you that you may not have known about before. When seeking immigration legal assistance, it is important to understand who is qualified to give you legal advice that you can depend on. You should consult only with attorneys who specialize in immigration law or DOJ accredited representatives. DOJ accredited representatives are people who are not lawyers, but who work for a nonprofit organization that has gotten special certification from the U.S. Department of Justice, which allows them to give immigration legal advice and services. People who claim to be immigration specialists or notaries, but are not lawyers or DOJ accredited representatives, are not qualified to give you legal advice or help. There are several laws in the state of Iowa that affect immigrants in our state. SF 481, which has been in effect since 2018, is a law that requires all law enforcement agencies in Iowa to comply with ICE. Although Iowa MMJ believes this law is unconstitutional, unfortunately, it is currently the law in Iowa, and it means that if you are arrested by the police and ICE asks the police to keep you in detention so that they can try to deport you, the police will probably do so. It is important to know that in Iowa, police are allowed to make pretextual stops. That means if they think that you might have a past deportation, they can use any excuse to stop you. For instance, if you have a tail light that is not working or tinted windows, they may stop you for that, but then arrest you because of the deportation. This is a good time to mention that you should try to be sure that you are following the laws at all times when you are driving, including driving the speed limit, using your seatbelts, being sure that any children in your car are properly fastened in, not having tinted windows, being sure your car is properly registered, and being sure all of your lights are working properly. Also, please do not ever drive when you have been drinking alcohol. There is a new law that was passed by the Iowa Assembly last year called SF 2340, which makes it a crime to be in the state of Iowa if you have ever been deported in the past. Iowa MMJ, with the legal representation of the ACLU of Iowa and the American Immigration Council, have sued the state of Iowa, and this law is currently enjoined. That means it is not currently in effect. Whether it ever goes into effect will depend on the outcome of our lawsuit. In these difficult times, it is important that you plan for your family's safety in case of possible deportation. Hope for the best, but plan for an emergency. Be prepared. Be prepared to protect your children, your finances, your home, your family, and your community. Know and practice using your rights. Appoint a person who can serve as your emergency contact, and be sure that it is a person that you can trust. Decide who will take care of your children, your deposits, and your property should you be detained or deported. Make sure you have copies of all of your important documents and make a folder of important information. And start saving money if you don't already do so regularly. You may need money to pay a bond, support your family while you are detained, or start a new life in your home country. You should prepare a folder of documents and lists of important information and keep it in a safe place. You should be sure that your family members and emergency contact know where this folder and information is. For a guide about what documents and information to prepare, please see Iowa MMJ's document for Know Your Rights and Safety Planning, which can be found at our website. This document includes a worksheet which you can fill out to have all of your important information in one place, as well as a checklist of documents to keep together. If you are detained, be sure that you have memorized the number or have a piece of paper with you with the numbers of your emergency contact and your lawyer if you have one. Also have the number of your home country's consulate in the United States. Your consulate may be able to assist you in case of detention or deportation. Know that communities around the state of Iowa are building teams that are prepared to respond in the event of ICE activity. At the moment, the best way to contact or become part of this effort is to join our WhatsApp group by using the QR code on this slide. The WhatsApp group is currently available only in Spanish. Another way to get involved is to go to Iowa MMJ's website and click on the Get Involved tab, or to contact us at info@iowammj.org. We hope that this presentation has familiarized yourself with your rights, your ability to prepare yourself, protect your family, and your opportunity to join in the effort to protect our communities. Thank you, and onward.